Hey guys, usually everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So let's talk about some Ethereum Classic. And I want to start off by talking about the ratio ETC ETH on Polo. This is the daily. I don't really know how relevant this is going to become, specifically just this pair, or whether or not it's worth paying attention to just from a technical standpoint. I don't really know enough about enough. But from technicals alone, it's got plenty of like W bottom type structure here. It's currently flagging, definitely high time frame. So definitely a bull flag, which tells me people are dumping from Ethereum into Ethereum Classic, just based on the ratio growth. If we pop on Cloud, it hit the edge-to-edge target pretty nicely, even though it like failed and then came back up. If we go on lower time frames, there was some sort of harmonic here. So it broke some levels, and really, so when I draw this out, I'm just picking the double top points. I'm picking sort of the lower low or the higher low points, and I'm matching that against a harmonic sheet that I either have in my head or that I have to go look at. But really what I'm looking for is 887 here and 1.272 here. So it would be hard to predict this as it's happening, but once these few candles formed, once you're here, and again, this is a hindsight, so it's easy to say now, obviously. But even if you catch it when it's here, and you see this is a tweezer bottom, these two wicks, the second wick does not go lower than the first wick. So you see this and you say, okay, I'm going to draw out the harmonic X, A, B, C, D, okay. Whether or not it fits an exact harmonic, I don't really care. It could be like a deep crab. It doesn't matter to me, honestly. It's close enough that I can say, I can take actionable signals off of this. I can reasonably expect bouncing to between 50 and 618 in this zone here. The next resistance target is the diagonal from the A to C diagonal. So it broke that as well. And you can see it sort of came back, bounced off that, confirmed it as support. Whether or not that's coincidence, I don't know, but it's there. It tells me at some level that diagonal is valid. So now again, we have this flag on higher time frames. On lower time frames, this kind of looks like an M double top. I'm not going to really dwell on this too much, but Cloud says it's fine for more up. Overall, the ratio looks fine for more up. If we go to the high time frames, you can clearly see, this is ETC, BTC now, clearly see three drives here, distinct, very clear. There's a slight bear div, so you're seeing higher highs here and lower highs on RSI. That's just telling you there's less momentum with each drive. So something else you can notice, again, this is the cloud on the background here. Each of these drives has pulled back to the 50% and gave you a chance to get back in. I'd certainly expect that here, so I would expect sort of something like this. I have a pitchfork on here, I'll get to that, but each of these sort of dipped and consolidated around the 50%. I would expect that before another move up. It's definitely had its moves. It's going crazy in Korea, and it's got plenty of backing by Silbert, but I think it's got some time. These had, let's just take a look. Okay, so from the top, they had 20 days here and 20 days here. So 20 days here, that would bring us June 14th-ish as far as sort of finding a bottom by that time. And then as far as, what you're looking for next is a higher high, a breaking of this level, just to confirm another jump up. Whether or not this is a three drives, it doesn't measure perfectly as a three drives, it's because I measured it, but it comes pretty close. So if you're trying to measure that out, again, everything's going to turn on again. Let me just delete everything and we'll go from there. If you're trying to measure that out, if you think this is a three drives, I would expect the pullback target back to the previous high, so this 5-1 level. So typically this will be a bearish three drives, even though the bull rally is greater than the pullback. So you get 1, 2, 3, and now you'd see consolidation and a breakdown at minimum to the 50% and possibly greater, but that would certainly be the first target. And you should draw this like this. So that 50%, it doesn't affect that if you drop from high to low or low to high, but it affects the other fibs. So between 416 and 51, I think is a really strong support and target based on not only this market memory, but these fibs and as well as the cloud support. You can see it's just had like these step stairs. It can certainly just hover around this area and still be bullish. If we turn on the 200, 200 is all the way down here. So it can certainly dip down in this area and get picked up and be bullish. You can see the 200 is basically just the cloud at this point. And a little bit more about EMAs. You can see the entry was definitely on April. The EMA entries like this aren't always perfect because you can see the move already happened. And you're thinking, why would I get in here? This is basically the top of the trend, right? At the time, but as it consolidated, it took off from there. And if we look at monthly pivots, I normally look at yearly pivots, but there isn't really that much data for ETC, BTC. So for monthly pivots, you can see it sort of respected these levels here. Again, this is kind of hindsight, but what you're looking for in this new month is where those levels are. Where's the pivot? Where's the base, basically, in the pivot math? And where are the targets from there? So you'd have to look at this in a few days when those pivots print. As far as pitchfork's concerned, this is super loose. There isn't any one pitchfork that I've seen on any alt that I like more than the Bitcoin pitchfork, just because it's a multi-year pitchfork. So these are kind of low time frame anchor points and data set. So it looks fine, but is it really valid? I don't know. You can see that this upper diag was clearly resistance twice now. So that's valid enough probably for this times data set. So what you'd be looking at is an entry again somewhere around the median line of the pitchfork, which should act as a magnet, and it already held up once here. So this would be the buy zone should it approach this area, and then again sell zone up here. If we go back to this falling wedge that got me so excited because it looks so clean. Initially, broke down. It's always interesting when these break the opposite direction, establish some sort of bottom, and then flip the other direction. So who knows what this is really about. I think this correlated with Bitcoin in some way, but I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. The pattern was there. The volume profile certainly was there. This descending volume profile, which still hasn't really recovered, but you can see it sort of picked up after it bursted out of the falling wedge here. The targets I like for this, and then down here, I'm just drawing this as the floor for the move because this was a ascending triangle. So if you fib this to the high, you get targets of 1066 and 1238. Right now it's just kind of a mess. High time frame flag, yeah, but here it's just sort of sideways. Cloud doesn't really tell you much because just sideways ranging. You can see it's sort of forming a bigger triangle in here, here to here. So whether or not that's reliable, I don't know, but that's also showing you like inside of the high time frame bull flag. So again, the targets are just the fibs that what I'm looking at. I don't really see any other chart patterns here as far as inverted head and shoulders, cup and handle, anything like that. There's a possible harmonic here, which I'll draw in a second. But overall, it's above the cloud. TK's bullish on the cloud. Cloud isn't bullish yet, so that would be a heavier entry signal that you'd be waiting for. Let's just get rid of everything. The triangle would look something like this. This would be something to watch for. It's hard because there hasn't been much data down here. This could just be, just a regular bull flag if you exclude some stuff, which is never a great idea, but it fits the narrative. If we draw the harmonic, I would draw it like this. So this, you can see this doesn't really fit anything. This number. You could get an opposite bearish harmonic with this. And this doesn't really make much sense either. 1272 somewhere in here. 106, that was a target. That was the yeah, that's just the 1.272 from here. Yeah, so maybe something like that. There's a pivot there too. I don't know, maybe that's worth paying attention to. Just this zone here. This isn't really a harmonic, but it's something. This would be the next high though that you could predict with some reasonable degree, just based on the confluence of resistance here. And there's no div or hidden div. There's no higher low, lower low situation here. There's no bear div because there wasn't a higher high. There's no hidden bull div or anything. So you're just kind of waiting on volume, which should approach, this range to be confident with anything. Let's just check the 4-hour cloud real quick. So this is kind of I don't love these sort of pictures because you're consolidating sideways. Cloud signal's probably going to flip interim bear because you're going to get a TK cross. See here, you're getting all this consolidation and then it just crosses down on you anyway. So it's really best to just wait on this time frame for the cross recross. Again, no bear div. But there's nothing in here that tells me that I should get in right now. There's no like strong entry signal, certainly. The last thing I'll mention, the volume actually has picked up on each of these legs. So that tells me this should go further more than anything else, because there's no div on volume yet. There might be a div on RSI, but that's whatever. It's pulled back each leg anyway. So the fact that volume keeps getting bigger and bigger, again, one of the main reasons I'm in this at all is because of just the money behind Silbert and the platform and his influence and things. And that coupled with just the Korea insanity that's going on right now, I think it's trading at $16. Yeah, so it's made a new high and then it pulled back. I don't think there's too much to be gleaned from this other than just watch for it if it makes new highs and just goes, because everything else is going to follow. Something else that was interesting is I was arbing it on Bittrex. If you make a Bittrex account, let's just check to see what theirs is right now. So yeah, I was arbing it from Polo to here because at the time it was trading for like 95 compared to like 82. I was arbing it around here. Anytime you see this triple wick stuff on a high time frame, 30 minute in this case, you definitely want to think about getting out and not getting in, sort of that sort of mindset. But anyway, so I was arbing it from Polo to here. Right now, there isn't much of an arb opportunity. So it's sitting at 714, it's sitting at 709. By the time everything transfers, it takes time to arb. But there's a wide enough gap, it's definitely worth thinking about if you're trading on multiple platforms to do that sort of thing. That's all I have for today. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter and Telegram, and happy trading.